had a lot of suggestions, some critical. I'm glad you brought that point. Yeah, some very critical, but we appreciate it. And we also learned from some of it's true. Keep in mind that there's and you got to realize that Ricky Smiley had a couple $100,000
It's not a no budget, it's a low budget.
Thanks for all the emails, suggestions that you sent into the show. Please continue to go to the website at www.we6.net and continue to send your suggestions in at suggestions@we6.net. Again, I'll introduce the cast, which you all are familiar with them by now. But I'll start with La Paula. Then there's Tom. Of course, there's Sarah. And DJ LB. Before I get started, I just wanted to take this time to mention a couple of things. Our cameraman, Parrish, and recently he had a birthday. And one bar. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Parrish. Happy birthday to you. And we have a cake here, which we'll cut a little bit later.
What kind of cake is it?
It's a white cake.
It's a white cake with 2 humps missing.
Missing.
Now someone from his elbow.
No, actually that's from the taking the
Right.
deal.
But it looks good. It looks
Looks
good.
very tasty.
Yeah, it's the
Parents
thought.
can't be
It's the thought,
choosy.
right? It's the thought that counts.
I'm pregnant, I'm gonna eat it.
And then when you
Okay.
get older, you should just be, really happy to get older. So hey, happy birthday.
Right.
Happy birthday. You ain't not gonna have a cake left.
And another piece of business is in the future we'll be sending out t-shirts, We6 t-shirts, to those that have real good suggestions. We don't know if you want your names mentioned, so we're going to do it by number. And of course, we can't address every email that come in, so we're going to put your name in a pool and we're going to draw a few. They're really nice t-shirts, and I'll give you an example. Here you go here at we6.net. Make sure that you go on our website.
Now that's for good suggestions, right?
Well, yeah. You know what? We've had a lot of suggestions. Some critical. I'm glad you brought that point. Yeah, some very critical. But we appreciate that. We're grown. We're adult. We embrace it. It's not a big deal. And we also learn from it. And some of it's true. Keep in mind that there's, they compared us to Dish Nation. Hi, Ricky Smiley. And you got to realize that Ricky Smiley has a couple $100,000 budget. We have no budget. So
It's not a no budget, it's a low budget.
Low budget.
okay, a low budget. But so most of the emails that we received were very positive, very encouraging, very supportive. And what stood out most is how everyone on the cast has their audience. There are people that, inquire about each person has their own group, and following, if you will, but they always ask, who is this person? Tell me more about that person, whatever. So that's very encouraging, and we had a lot of fun with that. But keep sending in the suggestions. We appreciate them, negative or positive. So we'll get down to some of the questions that came in. Denzel Washington. There's one of the stars that's been in the headline lately, but which brings about the question, it's not about Denzel because those are alleged situations, but it brings about the question to you guys. When a superstar that you like has a problem, does it affect you? Do you not care? Or do you feel like they let you down? Or
Let me answer that. I want to be honest about that question. I think, because my first mind when you asked that question was like, no, we don't care. It doesn't have anything to do with us. But then I thought about a superstar that I care about a lot. I've loved him since I was a child. And he struggles with drugs. So he does these comebacks. Everybody supports him. I mean, he's beautiful. And then he falls off and does something and then has problems again. And I take it as if he's one of my family members. So I'm going to say yes, it does affect us because we care about them. We care about them like we do our friends and our family.
okay, so this is a star that you know.
This is a star
Okay.
that I know.
All right, and you didn't name this star.
I wouldn't dare name
All
him.
right, cool.
I love him too much to name, but you know who you are.
Right.
I think if it's someone you know, then there's a reason for it to be personal. If you don't know him, and let's just use A-Rod, this whole thing with A-Rod, who cares? I don't care. He's made all the money in the world. If he wants to shoot his body up with steroids and ruin his reputation, that's his business.
That's a
Person, right,
It's alleged.
alleged. Personally, I don't care. But if it's someone you know, yeah, then there should be some type of attachment. But I mean, their lives are just like ours, and that's what makes up life, the positive and the negative things that happen. Life is a game. The goal is to come out winning on top.
Now, Henry Richenberg is a wine that costs $24,000. What makes that worth $24,000 a bottle?
I'm not familiar with that label or that brand. It could be a collector one, which sometimes it's the bottle itself, the label itself, which 9 times out of 10 it's already acetic acid by that time, so it's really now most of them are not drinkable. But it's like anything collectible. People collect anything. You see that from everything from refrigerator magnets to God knows what.
Right. Now, you are a connoisseur.
Not really. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I appreciate wine.
But so, how much would you pay for a bottle of wine?
Part of the fun of wine consuming is me and my wife try to find wines that are under the price point, usually $10 to $15, that are extremely good. That's because you can spend $60, $70 for a bottle of wine and it not be stored properly or taken care of. And it's, it tastes no different than than a $7 green wine and, fresh up from Chile.
But what makes what's the difference between it and the $7 wine?
A lot of times it's nothing. I mean, it takes about 3.5 pounds of grapes to make a bottle of wine. So if you look at it that way, if everybody uses 3.5 pounds of grapes per bottle, they use enough grapes, and and they let it ferment properly, and it should be a decent product. Sometimes it is. There's contamination in wines, contamination in natural occurring yeast, which sometimes happens spontaneously, and that will affect it. Usually, it's nice. it's nice to treat yourself every now and then. I'm a big fan of champagne. I love champagne.
Me too.
And I love it, and I mean, I love expensive French stuff. Canada's good. South Africa is very good. But I love the Champagne region of France. I can live in it, no problem.
Okay, so what we're gonna do in the future is maybe
You just pay.
have you do a little workshop to help to educate, if you will, our audience, because I'm guilty. I usually go in there and I look at the price, but I would like to understand more quality and how you choose whatever. So in the future, maybe we can set it up where we put in a little segment of you actually just explaining it, and we'll run it for a couple of minutes or so.
Well, I'm nowhere near an expert but I do enjoy it because like anything else, if you overdo it, become obsessive, then you lose the enjoyment of it. It's no more fun. Wine should be fun. Beer is fun. I love wine.
And I just learned a lot just listening to you. I mean, I've been drinking wine since I can remember, and I didn't know any of that. And you know what? It's really a good deal because normally grapes are like $3.98 a pound or so. So if you're getting 3 pounds of grapes in a $7 bottle of wine, that's a still a deal. I like that. It's very economical. So I'm going to drink wine more often.
Well, it actually costs more to transport it from
Wow, we're getting a bang for our buck with wine.
Because wine grapes are extremely finicky, the better ones, the Pinot Noirs and things like that. They're very difficult to grow, but most of the common varieties, you can make wine out of anything. And particularly, the classic French varietals, those grow just as well in Washington State as they do almost anywhere else, or California.
It's healthy too, right? Because it's fruit.
Wow, okay, so we'll do that. Okay, and we'll pause to our next question. Okay, DJ LB, Dutch-born DJ Tiesto charges $250,000 a night, and he made $22 million last year.
God bless him.
He's one of the top 10 DJs, which leads me to...
Where is he at? Is he in America or is he?
Yeah. He's
Down in Miami?
Dutch-born. He's all over.
Okay.
And he caters to the elite that can afford $250,000 a night. And I've seen some footage of his show, and really it's a show. It's not like him just spinning his lights and everything. So I'm going to ask you as a professional in that area, or one of your areas, I mean, you got so many things going on. So is the DJ industry leading in that direction, or is it what's happening out there?
There's a lot of conversation and things like that. You have things like Mi Casa that go down in Florida every winter. And this is a house music festival that goes on for about 7 days. And it's got more DJs than probably any other single event that happens throughout the year. You're going to find that certain DJs, those international guys, make a lot of money. For one, they got to fly, they've got a lot of equipment, so there's great rewards for that. And more power to them. The more that all of us get paid, the more we all get paid, so to speak, raise the price. But you're going to see, and I think this is happening a lot, more DJs doing concerts and actual performers on them. Because people really are, it seems like dance is coming back to music. I don't know what's going on with hip hop and rap music, but it seems like the higher energy dance, and you look at Bruno Mars, that 120, 125 tempo type music is really coming back. So you are going to see a lot more DJs doing actual concerts where they're spinning a 4-hour set, or you may see 3 DJs spinning an 8-hour set charging. Just this last weekend there was it was $347 to get into an event over in Europe where it was 200,000 people coming over 2 days, very similar to our Lollapalooza, but it was just DJs. And they said, do the math. At $347 for 200,000 for 24 hours of music, that's a lot of money people are making. So you are seeing the money come out.
Wow.
I need to get into that business, that sounds good.
They make it easy now, you don't even have to buy the equipment, all you need is a laptop.
Yeah. You need a good laptop and a good ear and a good eye.
Anybody could be a DJ.
Everybody is a DJ in Chicago.
It sure seems like it.
That's the only reason why I didn't pick it up is because everybody was doing it.
It's not too bad.
And now I'm like, wait, maybe I should have hopped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, but who's good at it?
I wasn't.
You tried it.
No, I was a radio announcer. I worked radio for about a year and a half.
You sound so.
I had
He has a face for radio.
the face for radio and no talent. Just
I think
absolutely
you're
no talent.
talented.
It's not as easy as one may think to be a DJ.
Starvation is probably
There's a
the
lot
biggest
going on
deterrent. People like to eat.
Right. Let me ask you guys this, Kim Kardashian and our Chicago's on, Kanye just had a child, congratulations.
Yes.
But it brings about another question, those high profile relationships, do you think they're in more trouble because they're high profile, or is it just the norm and we just hear about theirs?
I mean, I think that everybody has problems. And just because it's focused on them, people are like, oh my God, it's just something to like redirect their attention and keep them away from their own lives. Everybody's going through this, but people like to hear other people's dramas. So it's like, I mean, yeah, it's more focus, it's more blown up, it's more out there, but everybody's going through stuff like this, so.
Okay. Now you're a comedian, you're a rickshaw driver, you're a hostess, you wear many hats. Now, rickshaw driver, I mean,
Please tell me what that is.
Let's
I'm
talk.
learning so much today here. What is a rickshaw driver?
Pedicabs, it's the guys who ride on the
Big
bikes
cabs.
and have the cabs in the back.
Oh.
So they work at places like
I've
Lollapalooza,
seen
baseball
that.
games, football games.
No, they had a name.
Yeah, rickshaws.
Rickshaw.
The original rickshaw was a little Chinese man in a hat running around pulling people on foot,
Yes.
but they turned it into,
Yeah, I see that a lot.
it's like a cab driver but on a bike.
Well, there's national companies. Most of them are headquartered in San Diego for some
Yeah.
reason. There's about 6 or 7 national
Well, I see a lot in downtown Chicago with the little guy. He's like 150 pounds and he has 3 people on the back that are like 300 pounds apiece.
Yeah.
He's just a truck and I'm like, get it, man. I think that's incredible. You do that?
Yes.
Really? Do you ever have to turn anybody down because they're too big for you to be pulling? Because you're not that big.
No, that doesn't happen. I mean,
Legs.
You pull them
you
no
just
matter
go.
what.
You just go.
Oh my God.
And the number one rule about rickshaw, you don't talk about rickshaw.
It's like a secret society.
It's like Fight Club.
It's like Fight Club.
Check that
oh,
out. And that's
okay,
why.
so we don't want to get you in trouble. right?
Yeah, but let me say this though, I noticed that a lot of the drivers are swearing as they're pedaling. That's probably part of it too. Kind of just,
Alcohol infused.
yeah, just like I'm cursing them out, but they don't know it.
Right. Has anyone ever
It's just like
sent
cab drivers that nobody likes.
someone a text that you didn't mean to send it to them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank God, no.
I'm waking up a couple mornings after hanging out with Tom and looked at my phone and been like, God damn.
Wow.
Send it to the wrong person.
And another question that came in was a very detailed question, well thought out. It seems like this person may be in the political arena themselves, but I'll ask the question like this. What do you guys think of the wives that support the husbands, like Wiener or whatever? Not naming any names. What do you think about the wives that stand there and support them? Do you think they really support them, or they're just in shock? Or
Well, that's their job. I mean, either way, whether they're supporting them just in front of everybody or whether they actually support them, that's what they're supposed to do. You know, you're married and according to the vows that you exchange, you know, you're supposed to be supportive. So whether they are in the case of the name that you didn't name but you named, in that case, his wife was supporting him, and so she should, even if afterwards she, you know, like is really angry about it, because we had that with the basketball star, right? Where he got caught cheating publicly and the wife acted like she supported him, but later on we found out she did. No, that was golf.
Yeah.
So I guess that's their job, either way it goes. But I'm sure they've got to be angry, because even when Bill Clinton, and I know I can't say that name because this is no news to anybody, but Hillary, didn't she still support him after that?
Yeah. And I think it really depends upon the marriage. What I don't believe in is if you're sexing pictures of your body parts, you should be running for mayor of New York City. That I don't agree
And
with.
to do it over and over.
And over again, and ask for forgiveness. That's a lie, it's a joke, he should move on.
That borders on really perverse
You're right.
behavior.
And let me say this, when you look like your name, you ought to have better manners.
Have you ever responded to, and I have to admit, I recently fell for this, but have you guys ever responded to an ad or something, you were looking for something and they quoted a certain price or whatever. They didn't give you all the details, and then when you got there, it was something totally different. And when you got there, you just didn't feel like arguing and you just went along with it.
Happened to me today. Happened to me today. With the rent-a-bike. I got down here early, okay? And Barry was up on the Gold Coast, so I says, well, I'll walk over, and I realized I didn't have my walking shoes on, so I says, well, I'll take a cab, and I look over there to rent-a-bike. My God. $32 for 30 minutes? Hell, I can't get there in a cab for $2 for 30 minutes.
Wait, $2 for 30 minutes?
Right.
$7 a day.
But it's $7 minimum. That's in the fine print. After you slide the car. And then you have to dock it every 30 minutes. So you're riding along, you have to stop at one of those docking stations, shove it in there, press your passcode in and do that. Well,
Talking about the divvy?
yeah,
That's how that works?
that's how it works. And so I rode all the way up
Shame
to,
on you, Mayor Emanuel.
all the way up to Water Tower, tried to dock it there, it wouldn't accept it. Rode over to Oak Street Beach, it was full, couldn't put it in there. The next two I went to were also full, so you can't dock it, you can't put it, so I had to ride it all the way back to where I originally rented it over here on Clark Street. And pushed it in there, and it was just,
Tom, let me understand this. Let me understand this.
I don't know yet, I haven't got the bill because they penalize you if you don't go longer than 30 minutes.
Is it like a ticket or something?
I have no idea.
Let me understand this correctly. You rented a bike to take it back where you rented it to.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure we were clear on
I mean,
that.
that sounds like consumer fraud. I think, it was destination oriented.
Are they taking investors for that business?
Because once you've got it, you can't get rid of it if all the stations are filled.
So
So
the
it's
bike is
yours.
like herpes.
Yeah, and only unlike herpes, it's $1,125 they're going to bill your credit card for. Herpes is free.
I bet the people who bought the parking meters from the city flipped the money that they made off us from that and bought the bicycles.
No, I think they bought New York City from what they paid off the Chicago parking.
Okay,
God.
and we'll go to another question. Dumpster diving.
Oh, Jesus.
That is just running rampant, it seems like, if I'm understanding everything. There are a lot of people that are doing it. And so,
What exactly is it?
I'm a nomad, I see.
and I don't know that much about it, maybe you can expound on it, but dumpster diving is where people that don't necessarily have to have a need for food, or they're not in a dire need financially for food, they go get their food from a dumpster and they prepare their meals.
Oh.
This is middle class people that go into dumpsters, specific dumpsters that they've kind of picked out, and they take the food out, and then they take it home and they make a meal. But they're not the so-called regular, everyday homeless person or whatever.
Well, I really want to say stuff about this. There's a lot of food out there being wasted.
Correct.
And if you could find yourself a good, head of lettuce or, some nice bread or anything in there, why not use it to prepare a meal with? Dumpster diving actually runs in my family. My father was actually a dumpster diver, and when he wrecked his car, he actually took pieces from the garbage and rebuilt a headlight out of garbage. And he had a lot of garbage throughout his home.
So dumpster diving
Isn't new, it's not new.
It's whatever you get out of the dumpster, or is it?
Yeah, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you get, a lot of nice stuff, couches.
Yeah, that's
Or
pretty
no,
much-
I've put plenty of
Well, that's a
furniture
little
down.
different though, because food, doesn't the dumpster itself present a level of contamination?
Correct.
I
That should
mean,
be.
yeah, you're wasting food, yeah, it would be nice to get, but didn't it get nasty when it hit the dumpster?
Not necessarily. I used to work for Dominick's, and they would just like throw things away.
Okay, I
And they lock up their
Like
dumpster.
all companies, not necessarily.
That's dictated by law.
Be all
That they get rid
They,
of that stuff.
they get rid of it. So sometimes when we overregulate things, and then there's no place the only thing you can do with it is throw it away. If you put it in a truck and try to cart it somewhere, you're incurring an expense. So if you just throw it in the dumpster, you can pay for that in your trash haul.
But actually, he's right, there's a lot of restaurants who at the end of the day try to donate their food to homeless shelters and things like that. And they won't take it because they're like, well, we can't track where it came from and what your restaurant did with it in the 8 hours before we had it. And let's be honest, not that the homeless need to eat a substantial level of food, but if you're donating food to feed people who can't afford themselves, afford to feed themselves, I don't see anything wrong with that. Just me personally.
However, though, in Chicago, you really don't have to look that far to find a homeless person, and we all know where they sleep at night and where they hang out. So, if someone wanted to give the food away, that would be different because then it hasn't hit the dumpster. Just for me, the fact of it being thrown away, I don't want it.
Sometimes they have to wrap it in order to eliminate the odor and also, and
Rodents and things
rodents,
like that.
exactly. So a lot of times it's wrapped and it'll sit there. After 2 or 3 days, it'll start to ferment
And be wine.
and be wine,
I want to ask you, you're very busy, you're all over the place, and pretty much there's a location that you're at every first Sunday.
Every first Sunday of the month.
And can you just give us a little bit of what takes place in that venue?
Well, I can. And I don't need to name the place, but basically the vision is just for your soul to gravitate. And what it is it's a place where you come every first Sunday of the month. We have different DJs that come. We have a resident DJ that is excellent. And then it is an outlet for a lot of talent that may be unseen, unsigned to come and display their talent. So we get a lot of Chicago and the surrounding area performers, poets, singers, different people that come out, and you hear great music and you party and dance. I wish people partied and danced much more than they do, because these days people just like to sit around, but and you have a really good time. Mission, Soul Gravitation. We're here. We have Big Lavender with us tonight. We're very honored and proud to have him with us. He's a well-known Chicago DJ. Big, tell us a little bit about yourself and your music.
Well, I run a label called Sophisticated Recordings. We do digital, vinyl as well. And basically, I just try to put out the best music I can possibly put out.
And you do, because once everyone heard that you were here, crowds started pouring out more than our norm.
You know, it's always great to get, support from your hometown. Chicago is a great city with a rich history of house music, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
And we're happy to have you here too tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
No doubt.
And we'll see you at Week 6, Chicago. Have a good one.
All right, thank you.
Week 6, thank you for joining us at Soul Gravitation. We really enjoyed having you in the building. I know that we hang out together all the time, but it was a lot of fun having you on location with us here at Soul Gravitation. It's a monthly event, and it's the first Sunday of each month. Tonight, what's awesome is we have Big Lavender, which is a well-known Chicago DJ. He's going to be bringing a Latin house groove. We also have a poet. From what I understand, she's going to be doing some exotic poetry, and her name is Ray. So I'm really glad that you guys had a chance to stop in, hang out with us, and I hope to see you again real soon. Remember, if you want to find out, we're at Soul Gravitation. I'm LaPaula Nelson-Cobb. Week 6. Thank you so much. Oh, and I can't dance.
It is an excellent spot. It is very different. It has a combination of what I have a Chicago party mode, but also the decor reminds me of New York a lot, and some parts of Atlanta. Just keep an eye out for LaPaula. Look at, check the social media out. Barry, one of the many hats that you wear is you ride about 80 miles a week on your bike. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been kind of trying to get up to 120.
Okay. You recently, one Saturday, I believe you went like 43 miles?
Well, last Saturday, Tom and I, my son, and his wife, we rode 43 miles.
Okay. So people have written in and they've mentioned different deals, and it brought about this question to me, and maybe you want to maybe take a look at it. They're looking for, they mentioned different bike paths. So we don't want to compare, but maybe at some point we can maybe just mention some of the good paths that are available, because you are actually a true rider, if you will.
We are fortunate in the state of Illinois, especially in Chicagoland. The Illinois Prairie Path, or what used to be the Illinois Trolley Car Path, is Illinois' DuPage County, Kane, Will County, runs up into Lake County. You can ride a bike path from downtown Chicago up to Milwaukee, as far west as Iowa from downtown Chicago, and probably as far south as you want to go. But there are tons of bike paths. They are great. Some are road, some are gravel, so you get a variety of things. Under bridges, hills. It's a great area to live in if you like to get on a bike and go places. And the things you see, I'll tell you, it may seem like a simple thing, but I bumped into an elk on my bike. And you don't realize how small you are until you bump into an elk. Wow. And it was just like, wow. But no, I love biking, and in Chicago you can do it with any variety of level, whether you want to take your 6-year-old son or you want to ride 200 miles with a group over 8 hours, you can do it. There's different levels. So yeah, nothing you can't do in Chicago on a bike.
Okay. So maybe in the future we can maybe discuss some of the paths,
Absolutely.
things that people can do. Maybe we can all get together and
Maybe you guys can go get a bike for $20
But
a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not get the bike that Tom talked about, because we would just use up all of our cash flow.
Right.
No budget.
Right. Have either of you guys ever had an embarrassing moment that was embarrassing then, but now it's funny that you can share?
I don't think anyone in this room has ever done that.
I can say I have.
I can't even think about it.
Things happening to me, but I can't recall it because I don't have a good memory, but yeah.
I can tell you a really funny thing that happened to me. I was at a wedding. And I went to a wedding and I didn't eat because I was coming straight from work and I started drinking. I bumped into a bunch of old friends. And I was standing against the wall during the reception and didn't realize that the 6 light switches that control the lights in the wedding were behind me. And as we're talking, I'm just, I'm bouncing down and the lights in the wedding are going down, down. Before you know it, it was dark. And I was like, what was going on with the lights? I'm like, oh, that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
I have a wedding story. I actually forgot. I was a bridesmaid probably about 2 weekends ago, and I forgot the vows.
Oh, you were responsible for bringing the vows?
Yes, and I left them back in the house. The bride turned to me and she's like, it's like, Mel, where are my vows? And I said, they are on the couch. And then right when that happened, her best friend came running through the church doors, holding this piece of paper back up. Yeah.
So now
So it was a
she's
funny moment.
And she's more her best friend now than you were.
She was originally the best friend.
Oh, yeah, you didn't have that much responsibility.
That was actually embarrassing and funny. And we laughed about it.
You know, you just made me think of one really embarrassing moment that I had where I had never done karaoke before, okay? And karaoke looks so simple. I mean, it looks so easy. You just read the words, and if you know the song somewhat, you'll be fine. So I get up on the stage. My high school sweetheart is there. This is my first time seeing him in years, and I say, I want to dedicate this song to, and point and do all that. So then the song comes on, and the song left me in the dust. Do you hear me? The song was done, and I still was trying to say the first 2 or 3 words. I didn't realize how fast that stuff went, and my friends, they came and got me off the stage. And I dedicated it to someone. That's what made it so bad. And in my female Luther Vandross voice, I want to dedicate this. And I was just like, oh my God, how come no one told me that this stuff, you can't talk slow like I do and read slow like I do and do this.
Right.
That was funny. Never again.
Yeah. I actually went to a museum and there were some children there, and there was a child that walked toward the edge of the stairs, and I thought he's going to fall. So I went forward to help the kid, and the kid stopped as if he had some kind of suction cups, no problem. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. Down the stairs, I went. Yeah, I landed flat on my back, and about 1,000 people walked over and looked down and said,
"Don't be a hero."
Right.
Those hard marble steps too, weren't they?
I mean, just like on TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it seems like it was happening in slow motion because I was like, oh, I'm going to really be embarrassed. And I was really embarrassed.
Oh, that was honorable, though.
Yeah, but I don't know if it'll happen like that again next time.
Let the kid
Let
go.
the kid fall.
So, fraternities and sororities, there are some that have very good step moves, and I know there's some that have different moves. Do you know of any that you think that may stand out, or just without naming your school or whatever?
In the words of W.C. Fields, any fraternity or sorority that wanted me for a member, I wouldn't want to be a member of.
Okay.
So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. That was one of the questions that came in. They wanted to inquire as to what we thought, or who we thought was the best as far as their sorority actually is a sorority.
I like, the thing about that is, and it's just like some other things that I could say, but the thing about it is the moves are probably good across the board when you are actually in college, and perhaps maybe even a few years afterwards. But when you get to be like in your 40s and stuff, and you're still trying to do that stuff, nobody's moves are good. Set on down.
She is 100% accurate. Being in a fraternity, I don't step anymore, but I did a couple of years ago with some guys, and it hurt.
You were stepping
I
out.
can guess
I mean,
which
it
one you're
hurt.
in.
It hurt, and I wouldn't recommend doing it after 25. I mean, I'm only 29, but you know,
Yeah.
after 25, I cut it out.
You are a comedian,
Yes.
and you have some upcoming venues. Maybe we can send the camera out and catch some of your show,
Sure.
and then we'll come back and feed it into our show here.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be on the stage? Are you ever nervous?
I used to get really bad stage fright. I learned how to overcome that, and I like being on stage now. I don't mind being in front of a group of people and, you know, telling a story or, you know, doing improv with other people or anything. It's one of my hobbies, and it's something that actually, it's my release. If I'm not doing it, I think that's when I get crazy. So at first I was scared, but I knew it was something I always wanted to do, so I just pushed past it, and I'm fine now.
Okay.
And I bet you're really funny too, Sarah, because you're funny.
How long is your average show?
It depends, I mean, on what I'm doing, if I'm doing improv and who with, and then if I end up going to like maybe like an open mic and doing like stand-up or whatnot. I mean, it depends on what kind of comedic outlet or, you know, what you're doing. If I'm doing a show or whatever, it just depends on timing. So it could be like a few minutes, it could be 15 minutes, it could be an hour. I mean, it just depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
How'd you get into that?
I actually started wanting to do comedy when I went to radio. And I did a lot of improv. Yeah, I did a lot of improv with a lot of those guys because they were crazy, and being the only girl, pretty much, you end up like getting like, I guess you say dogged on.
We call it playing
So-
the dozens, where we came from. Remember playing the dozens, like kind of, you know, sigging on each other and everything.
Yeah.
You gotta get good at it.
Yeah, you do. And then I started liking it, so I just started taking some classes, and before I knew it, I loved it, and just kept going and going and going. Now the possibilities are limitless.
And you're wrong.
It's helped me not just in life, but in work, and I suggest everybody take comedy.
Yeah. Being funny is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it.
Smile.
I mean, people think I'm funny, even when I'm serious. I'm like, I'm getting ready to beat your butt. And they're like, hey. I'm like, okay.
I find you downright hilarious.
Okay, at this point, I just want to mention that please continue to go into the website www.weee6.net and send in your suggestions. We've received a lot of suggestions, a lot of good suggestions, and again, we'll send out a t-shirt and a pool, random. Also, someone mentioned in an email the military. Just like to thank those that are in the military because you mean a lot to us. You do a lot of hard work, and we don't want you to ever think that we're not aware of you. You allow us to be able to enjoy the things that we're doing here. So, I mean, we're a group of people that are getting together, having a good time and having fun and feeling free. And the reason why we can do that is because you're out there making sure that we can do that. So we appreciate that. So keep doing what you're doing. And if you are new, fresh back to the States or whatever, and you want to come down and hang out, we might be able to work something out. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but we have a couple of people that are out on assignment. We have Blanca Terry, who's out on assignment, and she is working our Hispanic community, so you'll see a lot of big things coming in that area. I've seen seen some of it. I talked to her. She's very funny, very personable. So we're looking forward to seeing what she brings back with us. Anyone want to add anything to this? Everyone's good?
Yeah, what I am curious as far as like social media. I know you did give out the website, but is there any other information that you can share as far as anything else? I'm not sure, I'm just asking.
Yeah. You can go to YouTube and type in Chicago We 6, and you can have or see some of our old episodes. So that's Chicago We 6 YouTube, and you'll see after they air on CAN TV, Channel 19, then they're posted, so you can go on there and see
You
those.
can subscribe and everything, make comments, that type of thing,
Correct.
I believe.
Correct.
Don't quote me.
Okay, so we're all good. We'd like to thank you, and we'll see you next time.